Hello there. The UK government has announced a migration deal with Albania aimed at limiting illegal immigration across the English Channel. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak spoke of a new approach in the London Parliament on Tuesday. The new approach envisages the use of British border guards at the airport in the Albanian capital of Tirana. In addition, the number of clerks should be doubled in order to process the large backlog of asylum applications by the end of 2023. That's what Sunak said on Tuesday in the British Parliament. The Prime Minister also announced the creation of a new unit to monitor crossings across the English channels. The number of these crossings has recently increased significantly. They say it's unfair that people are entering the country illegally, or the Prime Minister said that, and he said we have to stop the boats. As Sunak further said, 400 officials are to deal exclusively with asylum applications from people from Albania. And as I said, British border guards are also to be stationed at the Balkan state's most important airport. According to official figures from London, almost a third of the migrants who entered the UK illegally this year are from Albania. According to Sunak, the officials should help stop organized crime and prevent people from coming there illegally. As I said, a third of all migrants who arrived in Britain on small boats that year were Albanians, and that was around 13,000 people. With the new deal, these would be immediately sent back to Albania, Sunak said. Albania is a safe, prosperous European country, said the head of government. And he says the Albanian Prime Minister Edi Rama has also assured that there is no reason why they cannot send Albanian asylum seekers back immediately, although international law sees this a little bit differently. New laws will ensure that anyone who arrives in Britain illegally will not be allowed to remain in the country, the Prime Minister said, which would break international law as well. He also promised more raids to better enforce deportations. Refugee workers and human rights activists criticize that the Conservative government is undermining the right to asylum with its strict plans. They demand more legal entry routes for refugees. Sunak pointed out that Germany, France and Sweden have rejected almost 100% of Albanian asylum applications, while the UK's refusal rate is 45%. Yeah, almost, but we are checking all applications. Sunak said it shouldn't go on like this. Both the border guards at Tirana airport and his government make it unmistakably clear to asylum seekers that Albania is a safe country. The growing number of people crossing the English Channel illegally has been a thorn in the side of the Conservative government for years. They are trying to stop the trend with harsh measures and want, among other things, to fly migrants to Rwanda regardless of their asylum status. The end of freedom of movement and thus control over one's own border was an important argument for Brexit. The British government is under political pressure from this record number of migrants arriving via the English Channel. Sunak's predecessors Boris Johnson and Liz Truss had already announced a much stricter immigration policy. Around 45,000 migrants have crossed the English Channel by boat since the beginning of the year. In 2021, more than 25,800 people crossed over to the UK. And the current high number suggests that a controversial agreement by the British government has failed to have any effect. London had reached an agreement with Rwanda that asylum seekers who entered the East African country illegally can be deported to the East African country. So far, however, no deportation has taken place. A first deportation flight planned for June was cancelled after a decision by the European Court of Human Rights. However, Sunak has now promised to continue the controversial plan of former Prime Minister Boris Johnson, which is a breach of international law and the Geneva Convention on Asylum. And his comparison with Germany, etc., is wrong as well. Even if Germany and the other EU countries would reject 100% of the asylum applications by Albanians, which is not the case, but even if they would, it would still not free the United Kingdom from going through a proper asylum process, because everyone rejected in the countries cited by Sunak have made this decision at the end of the asylum process, and in many cases several sessions at courts, because in the countries he cited there is the rule of law, which even gives you the right to go to court against a decision by government organs. And that is the big difference. The process has to be made however the people arrive in the country. And that is a point this conservative government always forgets. And I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.